Hello and welcome everybody to this Saturday's webinar. And I hope all of you are taking care during this unprecedented COVID-19 epidemic. Once again, welcome to Solve the Unresolved Forum, presented by Panacea eBiz Consulting Group. This is in fact our second webinar. As I stated before, the purpose of this webinar is to address and reflect on issues relevant to organization and businesses, small or big, that's irrelevant. And again, coming back to the theme of resolved to unresolved, we may discuss, we may initiate, we may learn about certain things. The most critical aspect is not only learning and discussing, but in making it a habit of practicing it as we go forward. That is where we will try to emphasize on as we go along. Today's webinar, friends, focuses on growth mindset and integrated approach. Let me introduce the two gentlemen with me today. Mr. Ravinder Goyal is founder of Panacea eBiz Consulting Group, himself a veteran in vocational skills with 27 plus years of experience. He has a significant trajectory in terms of his contribution to the skill ecosystem. And I've seen him personally practicing this for the last 2 decades plus. He is a technology entrepreneur with more than 28 years of leadership experience in IT training services industry. And he has been consistently focusing on mass capability or capacity building. Mr. Goyal also evolved smart learning training methodology, which was well appreciated and top most voted National Golden Peacock Innovative Product and Services Award in 2002. He has authored thousands of motivational and inspirational quotes on various aspects of day-to-day business. Now let me introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Talwar. Mr. Talwar is a management graduate with more than 30 years of diverse experience in business strategy, leadership development, organizational development, talent management, and succession planning. He has a wide international exposure and have worked effectively with different cultures and diverse teams, and specifically managing teams or virtual teams. He is certified facilitated the Global Leadership Program course for Asia, Scandinavia, European countries. He is associated with the Telegram Group. Rajiv is also managing strategic tie-ups with the India's premier institutes like IIM Ahmedabad and Bangalore, ISB, to deliver executive education for senior leaders who are working through and also international faculties in designing and developing learning initiatives. And these are all aligned to specific business objectives. Rajiv is a certified leadership and wellness coach. He is familiar and he is certified in great place to work. To start with, I request Mr. Goyal to speak a few words.
Thank you, Sandeep. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all in our second webinar on behalf of Panacea eBiz Consulting Group for Resolve Unsolved. First webinar was on retaining and managing key employees by Dr. Krishna, a learner, consultant, and coach. We'll continue this and do series of webinars, talks, debates in times to come, and not only will raise the issues, but will move towards finding the solutions. Today's topic is growth mindset integrated approach. While continuing what we are doing, people will focus on expanding their capabilities, learning resources, for they may struggle more than the fixed mindset people. But this struggle to find out newer horizon will emerge you as a recognized person in your chosen vocation in times to come. We know Eklavya in Mahabharata that he did not lose his oath and beliefs despite rejection from Guru Drona. We know Stephen Hawking, despite his physical ability and disability, could touch pinnacles in science. We know like Dhirubhai Ambani, despite a humble beginning, could list Reliance Group amongst 10 richest families across the globe. So it is the mindset. It is not about more about what you have and what you don't have. It's more about how you think about yourself. You can name a number of people from your own network who did not allow any kind of deficiency coming in between their beliefs and goals. They remained determined and achieved what they wanted to. Growth mindset is like becoming an athlete preparing for Olympics and keeping its focus on the goal despite doing all activities, all daily activities, facing all adversities without losing its focus. Good luck, all of you who are watching this webinar. And I welcome Rajiv Talwar, who is a renowned business coach. And now back to Sandeep to take this further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Rajiv, it's to you now.
Okay, so
Please take it off.
good afternoon, everybody. I think I have a pleasure of presenting and talking my experience in front of many successful people. So that opportunity really comes very rarely. So I'm really happy to be here, and I would really compliment all of you for taking out time, because just by taking out time shows that definitely you have the making of a growth mindset. So that is something which I would appreciate. And the flow would be that I would share some of my experiences, because 30 years in corporate world has been a long time, and still I am working with a lot of different types of organizations in different sectors. And till date, I would have interacted with close to about more than 2 lakh plus people in various capacities. So meeting people, talking to them, understanding their views, meeting the CEOs of the company, thinking and learning from them, understanding their mindsets, is something which has been extremely enriching for me. So let me start with the mindset. Why I call it a mindset? Why I don't call it the resources? Because as Mr. Goel had pointed out, you may have a lot of resources, but if you don't have the mindset to leverage the resources, then there's a big issue. So it is very good to have 100 crores turnover. But the question here is, now you have everything. What is the next goal? How is it going to come in? Will it come from present resources? Will it come from a different type of approach? So I'm a big follower of the executive coach Marshall Goldsmith. He's written a book called What Got You Here May Not Get You There. So whatever effort today you have put on the various things in terms of bringing your business to this level may require a very different thinking in case actually you decide to grow. Because it's a choice. Growth is a choice. It doesn't come by force. So if you really choose to grow, then that's something which is your choice. If you don't, that is also choice. And here I would say nothing is good, nothing is bad. So if today you're happy with what you're doing, definitely it's something adorable. But yes, if you want to grow and you want to build up certain things, then of course that's again the choice. So I think Sandeep introduced me. I have worked in different companies and I worked in different capacities. And the beauty here is that I worked in different departments. And I worked very closely with the CEOs and top minds of different companies. And I have also worked with excellent growth mindset CEOs. And I've also worked with fixed mindset CEOs. This has been my exposure. And presently, I build leadership capacity, capability, and I coach a lot of senior leaders just to go to the next level. So my coaching is going on, and that's what I do presently. So let me start sharing my first organization. And again, I would start with the CEO who came in, and we had only 2 products in our kitty. Now, the CEO moved into a growth mindset, and he says, competition has 15, why we should have 2? Okay, and that's where the entire planning started happening. Their entire business plan happened, the entire funding happened, and I was given the task to work closely with the marketing team, the research and development team, and the production team, and of course certain international vendors. So there, from two I would say products, we were able to come up with about 70 new products in the span of about 1 year, right? So earlier, imagine we were selling about 100 machines, and as we came with new models, it was started touching close to 2,000 machines. So that's the growth which came up, and this only came up because of the thought process. Now, slowly, I was with this company for about 5 years, and we went to about 12,000 machines, and that was the amazing growth. And then what happened? The CEO got changed. Okay, he decided to move on, and then I had a new person joining in. Again, a wonderful person. I won't name the person here, but then here the process started off doing analysis about the old CEO. What are the mistakes he's done, rather than looking at a growth mindset? So there were a lot of Excel sheets, there were a lot of data analysis, there were a lot of questioning to the senior people, and there was no looking outside, because then the market had started changing. The market needed new products, and this CEO's focus was totally inward. And slowly, after a span of about 2 years, the company started going towards the path of winding off, and finally this company closed. So this was again a choice which this person had. So this was my first experience, amazing learning. Then I joined the telecom sector. Now, telecom sector, we were doing in Delhi, we were doing about 10,000 connections in a month. Okay, 10,000 connections a month, and that time, that was the year 2003, seemed to be very high. The rates were 4 rupees, 6 rupees, and about 16 rupees per call. Okay, so that was the rate, and suddenly a new person joined us as the managing director. And from there, this person again had a growth mindset. He started traveling. He came to our circle, Delhi also. And he says, from 10,000, in 3 months, I want you to do 1 million. Okay, and we called it Lakshya 1 million. And suddenly everybody had one vision, one focus, and we started working towards it. So on one side, we strengthened the technology. The other side, the people started focusing on this. And believe me, this target got completed in 2.5 months. Okay, and then after that, the Airtel has not looked back at all. I was with Airtel actually, let me admit. Okay, so the Airtel didn't look back, and now it's a company which has got a premium brand, innovative company. Some of you would have had different experiences, but the company is now looking at 0% customer complaints. Okay, they are saying we are happy you complain, but our objective is to make it 0% as we go along. Have you heard of 0% customer complaints? And that is amazing. So this was my second experience. The third experience was with a media house. Again, here I would see a lot of things happening, but it was an owner-driven company, which I appreciate. We had professionals handling the daily business. However, there the company was largely operating on the likes and dislikes, because there are people who have been in this company for 30 years. They have been loyal. Okay, they are great guys. They're very close. They'll get all the good and bad news first to the owners. But then when it comes to contributing to business, I'm not very sure where they had it or not. So this continued, and somehow I couldn't relate to this company. So I was heading HR for them for about 2 years, and then I moved to another organization. And here again, from number 12 in the market, we came to number 6 or 7 in the market. And the first CEO had a very different story altogether. Okay, he used to call everybody for reviews, and everybody used to sit in the boardroom for 3 days. Half of them were sleeping, half of them were eating biscuits, half of them were looking outside and looking at their watches. The other CEO, he said, I'm not going to call anybody, but I'm going to come where you're sitting. See the difference. And I'm going to talk to you guys. So this person, the first CEO, only spoke to the management team. The other person said, we want to talk to you guys and see how we can get growth. So very late entered into the market. From 13 number, this company straight away jumped to 6th or 7th number in different locations. Okay, and the employees loved working here. And slowly there were different things which happened, and there were some decisions which were taken. Short run, they seemed to be good. However, in the long run, because of the decisions, a lot of good talent started leaving the company. Right, so it is also about good vibes. You may have a huge empire, huge company, but if the vibes are not good about people who work with you, I don't think there's growth which is going to come in long. So you have a company, you are feeding a lot of people, but people also have to have the good vibes for all of you. That means how they are treated in the company. So this has been, in a nutshell, my experience. Personally, as a leader, I've picked up a lot of challenging assignments. Why? Because I don't want to repeat the thing which is already there in existence. I would let it rather sustain with processes and other things if it's a good process. But then I would like to innovate. Okay, so I would like to bring in some new things. And being an HR person most of the time, or the learning development person, I want to bring something which impacts the business. It is not the feel good factor. A lot of times companies say, you send people to these 5 training programs. Okay, company has spent 1 crore. Some of them have gone to Harvard also. When they come back, nothing happens. Why? Because the objective of sending these people is not very clear. So since I have been working very closely with top B schools, I have an expertise to align people to the right programs. Okay, so you may aspire to send your people to IIM Ahmedabad, but which program the person should be going and what the person should be doing once the person comes back is what is important. So the growth mindset comes with the right behaviors. Okay, and a lot of times when you are successful, there's a big EGNO which comes in the place. And I don't want to say this word, I don't like it, but it comes in the place. And if you remove the E, then the GO remains. So I don't know how many of you who are there would like to remove the E and go to the G mode, and that is the growth mode. So it's the right behaviors, right mindset, right decisions. And why I'm calling an integrated approaches, that for a business to grow, there are 6 or 7 things which are very important. The first thing is your product. Okay. Second thing is your future orientation. What are the new things which you're innovating? What are the new things you're phasing out? If you've heard Birla 3M, Birla 3M doesn't keep any product more than 2 years. They get the new products because they know the market gets exhausted. That's the first thing. The second part would be your talent pool. So most of the companies, they are not able to retain their talent. And believe me, friends, talent does not only get retained by paying them high salaries. That is only 10% or 20% of the entire role. The talent stays with you because of a lot of other factors, and which most of the companies don't realize. So working with top IT companies and being an expert in employee engagement by Gallup, Great Place to Work, and Connexa, okay, my understanding is the talent does not come with alone money. You can keep the talent till the time the talent doesn't find any other opportunity. So keeping your talent is the second thing. The third thing is taking care of your bottom line, your cost effectiveness. And a lot of people, when there's growth happening, there's money which is splurged. Good to splurge money once in a while, okay? But then which direction you are splurging the money is important. So the finances part, financial management becomes important, right? Then the other part which I would here like to mention is the culture of your company. Culture means how people are treated, how mistakes are handled, how success is handled, right? And how people with talent are treated. So that is the culture of the organization. And then I would talk about your personal mindset, your behaviors, because everybody looks at the CEO or the top person, how their behavior is, and accordingly they would behave. So if you're a person who personally is a very good gentleman, which I have learned from my leaders, but you're a tiger in your reviews, then you're the person who would have a growth mindset. But if you're outsourcing your brains to some other person to do the review, then I don't think there's opportunity, because the other person again, so everybody who works with you for a salary would have a different goal which is there, and you have a different goal. Okay, I'm not saying they won't have the goal for growth, but of course you are the person who would guide them for taking the company forward. Okay, and then the final thing which I would say, your risk taking ability, your adaptability, your flexibility, how fast in case certain markets change, you're able to adapt yourself. And here your technology, your processes, all those things, your capability of your people, all those things play a major role. So these are some factors which would help you, look into opportunities around the growth mindset. Of course, there are many more, but these are the top 5 or 6 of them. Even let me admit to you, a lot of times there's a company, a very top businessman, the chairman of the company, he's just called me for only one skill he wants in his leaders. Just one skill. Okay, can you believe? He wants the leaders to learn how to give feedback to people. Just one skill he wants, nothing else. And I worked with this company for 3 years to give feedback on daily work, feedback on appraisals, okay, feedback when something goes right, feedback when something goes wrong. And it took me 3 years to change the mindset of these people. And then it was a success. And this person also then gave me his other company, where again I worked with a group of people to build the leadership skills. So guys, I would like to conclude here. All of you have got the ladders of success, but you need to decide on which wall you are putting, and based on that, okay, you will get the growth which is important. So thank you so much for your time, and I would hand over to Sandeep to take this further.
Thank you, Mr. Talwar. In fact, it was quite energizing to when you were sharing your examples and the pointers which you pointed out, which are important and critical for any organization process mindset. And I think we have experienced that, right, Mr. Goyal? Would you would you like to add on it? Because I'm sure that you must experience some of them which Mr. Kumar pointed out.
You see, I remember when I started my training company way back in '97. So there were all big wigs with the old big names like NIT, Approx, another many like TCS. Many companies were there. So we sat down our footing with a simple getting into vocational training for 1 or 2 years initially. And then we thought we are not doing anything unique. And I was aspired to at least make my company a nationwide company and among at least top 5 companies in India. So then we changed our focus and we moved to something what you call education, which was not only giving them the job but making them certified as well. So during this process, the people who joined me, what Rajiv said very truly, the people actually have uh, until as they align with your goal. So they will, I mean, a company cannot grow. So we had a target, the top team. They all participated in one single vision, which was to make this company visible across and to make the company at least have 100 plus centers and to have company presence at least in maximum parts of India. So finally, after a lot of efforts of 10 years, we had presence across 27 states and more than 680 centers at that point of time. So you have to have, like as I said in my initial talk, you must keep yourself focused onto what you are aspiring to. Problems will be there, a lot of resource issue will be there. Every challenge what you have not expected will be there. But if you keep yourself focused, you'll be able to achieve what you are aspiring.
Right, right. Super, right. And the very important point, just picking up one of the critical things which I jotted down when Mr. Talwar was sharing requirement. Mr. Talwar, you mentioned a very nice thing, EGO, and you said the E should be removed and stay with the goal. Would you like to throw some more light on that? I think this is very important because I think it is it while coaching certain organizations like you. But this is a very important point which I think a bit of light can give. Please.
Sure. So I think the E factor actually is a fixed mindset where the person starts thinking or the organization starts thinking we are the best. Okay, and everybody loves to work for us, and if we don't give him an opportunity, who else will give him? He doesn't have to go anywhere. So this is something, and the person starts. I would rather say the organization starts becoming arrogant in a lot of areas. Arrogance means dealing with people, dealing with humans, dealing with money, dealing with machines, everything, and that is where sometimes there's a big issue, and because that doesn't make you think, and there are people who come around you and start feeding your E. Okay, and then you say, so those people block you from the rest of the organization, and they start manipulating you, and you feel they're all well-wishers, and when you come to realize after 2 years everything is gone and you can't recover. So just be careful on that trap. That is why I said E has to go. With E, you cannot screen the right people. Wrong people are going to come with you.
Right.
They'll not be the people who would work, but they'll be people who will be feeding your ego.
Right. And I think you touched upon very, very important, but most of the time neglected feedback, right? And you said you spent around 3 years focusing on how to feedback in organization. And these are very, very important issues, but we sometimes tend to forget it. And why you feel feedback is very important because you are active coaching organization on it.
Sure. So let me share with you, feedback is not only important in organizations, it's also important at your home.
Yeah.
How do you give feedback to your husband or wife is very important. Okay, if you don't give it incorrectly, okay, you will have the whole weekend spoiled.
You're right. You're right.
Okay. If you give your child, who's now children are very different, if you don't give them feedback properly, the child will sulk and there'll be distance happening between you and the child.
Right.
So in every walk of life, feedback is important. And when we give feedback, people start becoming insecure. So the feedback has got a process. The way we give feedback has to be the growth mindset rather than making people insecure. So giving the right feedback is a growth mindset behavior. Because here you're not going to tell the person what wrong you have done. You are going to tell the person, okay, what has happened has happened. What is the next step for you? Because if you start digging what wrong the person has done, there'll be distance which is going to happen and the person will feel very insecure. So 90% managers in the industry, CEOs, and I would name everybody, they do not know how to give feedback. Let me admit to you. And I was working with VPs level guys in this organization to teach them. I was sitting in the performance appraisals. Imagine. How do you give a feedback to a guy on a particular goal so the person gets motivated to do more? Feedback is not to make the person do less. Feedback has to motivate the person to do more. And when I do career counseling, why people come to me? I'm also a career coach and career counseling because the parents, they don't get the right feedback to the children. The way I give them a very different perspective. And then the parents come and tell me, after paying me money, सर जो आपने बताया था मैंने भी वही बताया मेरी सुनता नहीं है ये. Imagine. Okay, but they don't have the techniques to give that feedback, no?
Exactly. That's
so
it.
Their objective of feedback is to get a growth mindset. That's the whole objective.
Okay.
So it's a model, it's a skill, so that's why it needs to be really inculcated. And it's a behavior which gets learned over a period of time. So I was auditing these people. They used to call me for mid-year appraisals. The subordinate and manager used to sit in front of me, and I used to give them feedback, positive feedback.
Right.
I think I'll add one line here. The in Indian context when we speak, the feedback means that you start collecting shit. I mean, that's what, like my recent experiences with the number of people, whenever we travel, meet people. So actually, you see, when the recipient of the feedback has a set mind frame, probably whatever you do, then his perception will not change. His mindset is fixed. So not only the giver, but the recipient also has to change and take that feedback into a positive stride, so that he takes the feedback for improvement, not as a criticism. Yeah,
absolutely. And, we have a good discussion on it today. Should we try and see if different stereotypes what there with us today has any questions or any queries?
So anybody who has any question can put in the chat box or can just unmute and ask.
I think Mr. Ajay is looking for some question.
No, not really. I was just saying that the feedback which is given by the owner is also subjective in the sense that he knows who is his favorite boy. So giving feedback to that particular person who he does not want that there should be any sort of adverse reaction from him, the feedback from that particular person would be different. The way the owner gives it to that person is different from somebody whom he doesn't mind that whether he stays or whether he does not stay, it does not make a difference. So I think it is a subjective matter at times.
Right. Mr. Karma, you want to share any comment on this?
Okay. Sir, I would only say just remove the E right now. Okay. Because when I work with owner-driven organizations, okay, I don't want to say anything which hurts anybody in this forum. But sir, I think a bit of more exploration is required in case there's any other issue. Because I say that there's a level of people who form a chain around the owner. They may or may not give you the right input about that person. And so my only submission here would be if the owner can do a bit of more due diligence that would really be beneficial. Because otherwise, you may end up losing a good talent. And believe me, if you lose a good talent, you lose 10 more people. Physically, they'll be there, but you lose their minds. Okay, and there is a saying, there's a story, and it's a real story. It's called feeding to the hog. Okay, hog is a saw machine. वो बोलते हैं ना उसमें हम लकड़ी डालते तो बुरादा बन जाता है. So these people are making doors, and these workers were scolded by the owner time and again. So whenever somebody got a firing, they used to take a very expensive timber and put it to the hog and waste the entire wood. So that is how their anger would come out.
Okay. This is topic, and I think as we keep on discussing,
yeah, so this is a very, very interesting area. And any of you, if you want further discussion, I would love to support you in that, because this is a skill which has to be top down. So the chairman had this vision, and then it went top down. If the HR person has this vision, it will not cascade properly. So any of the CEOs, if you have this vision and you want to do it, please be in touch with Mr. Goel or Sandeep, and we would love to support you in this initiative. Okay, we can come and make a very specific presentation about to you.
Sure. Do we have any more queries from anybody, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Goel, want to add something at this stage?
You see, ultimately, as Rajiv has said, that every organization, every person, every new joining basically brings a lot of new things. And now it depends on the person, but how, as he shared one example of company which gone from 2,000 machines to 12,000 machines, and in 2 years it closed down. So actually, it's not only about one person; it's about the team and people around, the way the promoter or the owner or the board basically takes care of everything. So as long as the key driving people, they are managed and they are on to remain goal pushes. So then everything is all right as the feedback system evolves and people are trained to accept feedback for improvement, not for criticism. I think a lot can happen.
Sure. And the beginning of the webinar, as we have been talking, all organizations, small or big, in today's scenario, is talking about a lot of change, some drastic change, and not trying to find out the next way forward. And I think at this juncture, it makes immense importance that we focus on what we have been discussing today and take it to the next level. Right? Mr. Talwar, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, sorry, Sandeep.
Anything which you want to add?
Sandeep, I would just add that I think again I would repeat the same thing.
Okay.
The decision is there about the growth mindset or fixed mindset, and both are equally good.
Great.
So I think somewhere that decision has to be taken fast.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. I'm sure anybody who has any queries, any further information, do feel free to write to us, call us up, and we are there to take it up with you. And obviously, next week, next Saturday, we will be there with you all with a new topic, a new subject, for which we will be to post it around Tuesday or Wednesday. Thank you for your participation very much. Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you, Mr. Talwar, for the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Rajiv.